These are the recent events that relate to a virtual reality game called F. Most of what happened has left scars more terrifying than the ones on my body. And I feel like I'm worse off for getting out alive. If you own a Vive and stumble upon this game, don't, I repeat, whatever you do, do not play. I still completely don't understand what I got myself roped into. And contacting law enforcement is not an option. Warning you is the best thing I can do for now. The Vive screen prompted me to create a username and password. Then, the world disappeared. It blinked out of existence. It was as if someone had plugged through red on the remote and shifted reality to standby, sucking my body through a virtual vacuum. Pins and needles flooded my limbs, the edge of my lips, and sent vibrations through my fingertips. I could still see most of my body, though what was missing had been swallowed by the shifting black. My legs disappeared next, then my torso, and slowly my face was swallowed, eliminating the last evidence of color. There's not much you can do when the world is eating you alive. In my case, there was no need to scream, as senses no longer worked. I stood in this empty expanse for what could have seemed to have been minutes or hours, consciously existing. Welcome to fear. You're level 1 out of 7, a female voice said. What is this? I asked, but no sound came from my mouth. It remained this way for a while until the air seemed to shift and change around me. Color was birthed back into being, horizontal lines, first making up a denim jacket and khaki pants, then the dark brown texture of human skin on my body. I was gifted a pair of heavy-duty boots, and I had a baseball bat with spikes at the end gripped in my right hand. The colors streaked out from me, dancing along the floor in waves. I'd never seen a rainbow painted from start to finish, but I imagined it went something like this. Different textures creening out from one point until all 7 colors of the bow were complete. In my case, the environment was anything but rainbow-like. A Colosseum-style pit stretched out before me, and steam drifted up at the sides. There was a gate at the center, separating the pit in half. A man stood opposite, on the other side of the gate. He was in a similar attire, with an identical bat in hand. His eyes darted left and right as he took in his surroundings. He jumped when he spotted me. "So, you signed up for the game as well?" he asked. In truth, I had been bored out of my fucking mind and stumbled upon a website called F. The site looked something like the 80s, with shitty font scheme and oversized hyperlink buttons. Someone who wasn't trying to kill time on Saturday night might have skipped past the bad design. Anyone more desperate than that would have been put off when the hyperlinks led to error pages. I persevered. Why? Because the blurb 3 pages in mentioned facing your fears in VR, and that sounded fucking awesome. Most of the Vive shit was generic as hell, nothing personalized yet. I plugged in my headset and waited for a subpar but somewhat scary VR experience from the get-go. But this was better than anything I had tried. I could feel the texture of the bat in my hands, the denim exterior of my jacket, and the hot stench in the pit breezing through my nostrils in a mixture of dirt and blood. "Is this your first time?" I asked. The young man grinned. "Yeah, bro, this is wicked. My friend in Jersey tipped me off. We were going to try it last night. Shit, he finished the game." He waved me off, He's still plugged in. Kid's a no-lifer. What's your name? Alex, I said. Figures. That's what the Ali H-23 stands for. I'm Mike. I glanced at my chest, and sure enough, printed on the front of my denim jacket was Ali H-23. The username I had dredged up just for the heck of it. His was Shade, an improvement on mine, and no doubt given more consideration. The gate center pit rumbled and began descending into the dirt. It's showtime, Mike said. Good luck, you'll need it. He swung his bat up and strolled towards the center of the pit. The female voice rang out overhead. Level 1, Wrath. Defeat your opponent. I hiked up my bat, which felt as heavy as it might in the real world. The Vive games weren't this consistent with physics, even when you had the right gloves, body pads, and motion receptors. Maybe we should test out our weapons, I said, pausing a distance from the descending gate. Mike chuckled. No shit, that's exactly what we're gonna do. The gate thudded to a stop, leveling out as a smooth line of metal in the dirt. I had a feeling Mike misunderstood my suggestion. I went to respond, but he was already on the move, bat raised and nervousness in his demeanor gone. The bat spikes missed me by inches, cutting into the ground and anchoring into the dirt. Mike howled with excitement. Holy hell, this is fucking awesome! I rolled away, using my own bat as a stick to stand up again. My muscles burned as if I was in a real fight, and dirt now on my back of my hands and side of my face chalked up the surface of my skin, as expected. Mike, maybe we shouldn't bite. This feels too real. Mike pulled his bat from the dirt. It's just a cane, kid. Stop being a pussy. It felt too well structured. Definitely not something you found on a low-budget website. The pieces of the puzzle weren't fitting together. Just hold up, I started. Mike swung for my legs, and I jumped back just in time. A spike had grazed the top of my boot, leaving a dip in the rubber. There was no reasoning with him, and despite how wrong it felt, I had to admit to myself that this was a game like any other. Just an advanced VR sim, a beta version of an upcoming project we'd stumbled upon. Mike came at me for a third time, swinging the bat wildly, a maniacal grin on his face. I stepped back just out of reach, letting his bat whistle past, and slammed down on his chin. His neck crunched in with a blow, and he folded to the ground in a heap. Blood from his lips wet my hands, both of which throttled from impact. I'd only wanted to knock him out, but it looked like I had killed him. He laid with eyes staring straight and body limp. I knelt down and shook Mike. He didn't respond. In any normal video game, a body disappeared when the avatar was defeated. The pixels, they should have evaporated, or the corpse should have sunk into the dirt, and the game would then just continue. As I watched Mike, I felt sick to my stomach. There was a rumble from the side of the pit. A gate that I hadn't previously noticed retreated towards the ceiling. A woman dressed in an army uniform stepped forward, followed by two other people in white gloves, face masks, and what looked like cleaning aprons. I held the bat at the ready, stumbling up and in front of Mike's body. You wouldn't need a cleanup crew in a video game. That definitely didn't add up. Well done, Mr. Alex Hamilton, the woman in the army uniform said. Her voice was the same that had been making announcements from the beginning. The trio stopped several steps away from me, You're officially part of the F program, as stated on our contract. If you choose to opt out, the murder you committed will be held against your name in the real world. However, continuing will void any real-world offenses, assuming that you complete F, the army woman said. What contract? The fuck do you mean, offenses? Prior to account creation, every individual must accept these terms. You're bound by law. I reached up to take off my Vive, but my hands moved in the game, with no real-life response. Yet I could imagine my body and in the chair that I had been sitting in when I signed in. If you attempt to log out of F, we will assume that you have chosen to opt out, the woman said. My heart drummed in my ears and against the walls of my chest. I just wanted to play a game, I said. Part of me hoped this was some intricate bot designed as part of the level. NPCs were usually invulnerable characters in most video games. That would be a surefire way to find out. I stepped towards the army woman and the cleaners with the bat raised. I don't exist in this game like you do, she said, but attacking me will lead to worse repercussions than murdering some nobody from Jersey. Believe me. It's just a game, I told myself. I didn't do jack shit, let alone murder somebody. The very human expression of the army woman's face and the sudden fear that the cleaners showed when I raised my bat nagged at my emotions. I wouldn't get roped in, not after they were trying to bullshit me that I had committed a felony. I swung the bat straight at the bitch's head. The spike slammed through, splattering blood across the dirt. Warm across my face, getting on my eyes and mouth. The handle slipped between the fingers, and the woman's head hit the dirt. She was dead as Mike looked. The cleaners backed away. Eyes darted from the body to me, then to Mike's body, then behind. The only way out was the same way in. I swiped right above where my visor settings would be, and the option menu appeared. I scrolled down for the log out button and found it at the bottom of the list. Like I said, it was just VR on steroids. I hit the log out button. Nothing happened. I pressed it again, then once more. Still, no response. The gate at the pit edge rumbled in motion, shifting up into the ceiling. A replica of the army woman stepped out. Her uniform was clean, and her face remained untouched, unlike the corpse in front of me. She glanced at the cleaners, and then me. "Stop him!"